Painting, for me, the beginning of making the physical painting, that is, always starts with the materials, with colour and textures, controlling them and losing control of them. I find it impossible to start work on a blank canvas. I can't draw everything out on paper and then scale it to the surface as an exact copy. The idea has to sort of ferment in my head for a bit while I start working up the ground of a piece. A lot of mixing, pouring, layering, sanding, spraying, burning. As each layer dries, it allows time for the atmosphere to build up and the image to form. It's a process which swings from chaotic to delicate and back again, and although at the time it's almost unconscious and instinctive, it's always in service of the story. It's like I've always got this ghost of the idea of the painting hanging around in the back of my head like a mist. For me, painting is a way of getting down a certain sort of story, a mix of fact and fiction, subjective and observed. There's something between the knowable and the unknowable, and that process of working ferociously with unconventional materials at first, and latterly quite delicately with traditional oil methods, it sort of lends itself well to having one foot on the ground and the other in some realm of chaos and potential. The paintings are influenced by a lot of different aspects, I guess. It's hard to pin them down to any particular source. It's more of a melding of stories that I've imagined or read, snippets of ideas that I think would make good scenes in the format of a painting. I watch a lot of films too, and I often take elements from the way a scene is blocked or lit to stage objects or figures within a painting. Adding lighting or shadow to a figure that seems to be at odds with their environment can sort of add an unnatural feel to a painting, like they're being lit from somewhere off camera, so there's a sense that the figure knows it's performing for an audience, which in a way they are. In the process of working on the piece, I'll often change and go in a direction I didn't anticipate, but that's the part I find most challenging, trying then to rein it in or be pleasantly surprised by a change and follow it to see if it takes me to a more interesting outcome. My approach sort of changes every day really, depending on the painting. The finishing touches always tend to be highly considered in terms of traditional approach to oil painting though. Getting the colours mixed just right and tweaking the composition. Although the paintings are stories or parts of stories, I try to avoid making whatever is going on in them too prescriptive. They have to have at least a couple of different ways a viewer could approach them. In a way that probably harks back to the films and books I find myself enjoying the most, or surprising me the most. Stories that don't go the way you expect, or ones that have ambiguous morality or an unreliable narrator, a bit of absurdity to them. I think memory makes us all into an unreliable narrator. Nothing is ever as it looks. Everything that plays out in the mind's eye is sort of colour graded with emotion, ego and sentiment and hindsight and outside influences. The brain isn't a black box or meter stick, it's a subjective trip into some half-recognisable semi-reality, and I find painting to be an excellent place to play with those sorts of ideas.